Hey there, Board Gamers, Just on Paint here. Today, got a mail call. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the channel. If you're new here, please alpha strike that like and subscribe button. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for tuning in to help support what I do. That said, today I've got my first real letter in the mail, and don't dox the viewer. See, don't dox. It should be my viewer, because your host here can't write MY. Don't dox my viewer blocks. So this is from someone named David. I had to pull that off so I could see it. And he sent a letter. So this is the first real one. It does feel like there's a patch in here, which is pretty neat. Hopefully there's a letter that I can read to you guys. And hopefully it's not some evangelical trying to get me to go to church, because church is good, but I want something from you guys to read that's not some church stuff. So anyways, let's go ahead and pop this open. We'll see what he has sent for us to read here. This is pretty exciting because I've gotten a few things in the mail from viewers that were like minis, but I was really trying to do something where we could try not to cut the letter here because I see it. Do something that like highlights you guys who do law enforcement, public service jobs, military, stuff like that. And I hadn't got a lot of traction. I thought I might, and I know that a lot of the community that is into Battletech skews law enforcement. That is a real thing. Or real, or law enforcement, sorry. Skews military and law enforcement, and that's a real thing, and I figured it'd be kind of cool. So anyways, let's see what we've got here. Pull out, make sure there's no addresses on here of anything that is going to get messed up. All right, so we have got some stickers. Got 2 stickers, that's cool. And we got a patch here, and I'm assuming, because this looks like it is like a memory patch, like the sticker, I imagine this, which feels like it's got a little note, will explain what these are. So we'll pull the patch off, which is pretty neat. And what I'm thinking about doing is with the patches, getting a like a double-sided sticky tape, and then writing someone's whoever sent its name on the back, so I can put it on the board behind me on the for the videos. So that is what I'm wanting to do. So let's see here. All right, so here's our little note, so we know what we've got, and it says, Justin, it almost looks like it says Justin, but Justin, sorry this took so long. USPS stopped working when it snowed. This is my son's memorial things. I designed them. I want you to have them. They're for you. Cool, and this is from David Moore. So I think I just got a email, and it might have been from Mr. David here, that said he had designed something to remember his kid from, and was wanting to get decals done. So now I'm gonna have to go check the email and see if that is the case. So that I will check that out and see. David, if you're listening to this, thank you for sending me a patch. That is pretty awesome. If you want to leave a comment in the video here and tell us about your son, whatever details you would like to share, that would be cool to pin that. So anyone who's watching this, if they happen to see this in the background, they'll know specifically what that's about, because I can point to them. But if we're wanting to raise awareness or let your son's like memory live on a little bit, it would be cool to know about him, so we can have it in the comments below, and I'll pin it, and then people will know. So there we go. Yeah, so that was a little different than what I was expecting, because I expected more like a letter thing, which is totally fine. But definitely hope that David will get in the comments and let us know more about his kid, because I think that would be cool, so that we know what this is about. That said, I do have one more box here with me today for our mail call, and let me grab that, and we will check that out as well. All right, next up for our mail call, we have a box here from, I think his name was AP Parsons. Don't know the first name, but Mr. Parsons, thank you for sending me this. And this one says Fragile, so I think this one might be some minis. So for today's unboxing mail call, we've got ourselves a patch in remembrance, which is cool, and we'll have some minis. So we'll see what this one's about. Let's go ahead and get this open as I attempt to not dox this viewer either. Let's go ahead and shoop, 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 shoop. Also, be careful not to cut my fingers off. All right. Very careful to cover his address. Okay. This says, oh, so I do see, okay. So there's definitely some a sticker and stuff in here. Let's see what we got here. Says, oh, I'm assuming that's supposed to say knife safety paper. There's also a Marine Corps sticker in here, so poke a little fun at the devil dog for spelling knife without an N, which is really funny to me. The N's silent anyway, so we don't read it. We just know it's supposed to be there. So knife safety paper. That's funny. All right, so we've got a note here, which we will read in just a moment. Okay. All right, just making sure there wasn't anything crazy that I wasn't supposed to not share. All right, so we will read this in just a moment. We've got a USA and Canada sticker, and maybe the note will explain the arrowhead, or if it doesn't, someone in the chat or our supporter here has donated stuff can tell me. And then we've got a Marine Corps sticker, so I'm assuming he was in the Marines. Well, actually, I say was. For Marines, I'll correct you, is a Marine. So once a Marine, always Marines. I've heard that quite a bit from friends that I have. So while we're doing this, let me go ahead and grab the minis we've got here, and we'll get those out on the desk. We'll read the little note, and then we'll showcase the minis. All right, so that might be a mini. We're going to make sure, because there was packing paper, but that one had tape on it, so I suspect perhaps a mini. Okay. I thought that these, the warning things might have been notes, and then it looked like they were generic ones, so making sure I don't, was making sure I was covering everything I need to cover. All right. Cool. So we got some cards here as well, and I think that is it. So it looks like we got sent, I think there's 2 minis there. Looks like 1 or 2 there, so that's 4. Ooh, probably at least maybe 3 there. It's 7, 8, 9. So I think he might have sent 2 stars, which we will see once we get into this. So here is our letter. Let's take a little sip for our homie here. All right, and I will attempt to put on my best reading voice for you guys. So says Justin, the armed painter, shareable, and that's why I was looking ahead to see if there's anything that said do not share. Said, hope this catches you on a day you are doing well. Andrew, thank you. I am doing mostly well as can be. My name is Andrew Parsons. I'm a medically retired Marine of 19 years. See, not former Marine, retired Marine. Once Marine, always Marine. I still currently serve by working as a computer network engineer contractor for the U.S. Army Special Forces Command, USA SOC, so USA SOC. I enjoy watching your channel, and I hope to see the Nova Cats I sent you in a battle or 2 on there. So we know that we got Nova Cats. I'm also including an extra Orion from the Star League Command Lance box. I do, I do not need, as I already have one, and do not wish to repaint this one. You could put this, or put it into the grinder, or use it as you see fit. I am including a Marine Corps sticker and a USA SOC sticker, as I do not have any patches to send. So I guess this is the U.S. Army Special Forces Command sticker. I'm assuming that is that, and then the Marine Corps one. And for the Orion that you sent, I will probably give that away. I also have one myself because I get multiples of those packs. I gave a Lance with one of those painted ones to Daff, who, if you've been watching my channel, you've definitely seen him, to give to his kid. And so what I usually do with stuff like that is I'll give it away to try and get someone in. So I'll probably put it in my bag. And if I'm happy to be running probably a grinder at Nova or something, if a kid comes up and they play on the grinder, I'll have that mini and I will find someone to give it to. And my thoughts are, you gave me this mini that I could do something with, and that's cool. But it started with you, and it's like the sisterhood of the traveling pants, which is a terrible analogy, but it's like that. I don't even know if it's actually like that, but that's what I was thinking. So you've sent me this mini. It originated with you, and you've sent it here for me to use for something, and I'll give it to this kid, right? If they happen to stop by, they check out what we're doing. And then if that kid goes on to have a sparked interest in Battletech or the hobby, and it originated with you and came through me, like you've got this chain, and then that little seed was planted, and if they grow up to start and enjoy this hobby, that started with one mini that came from you, and that's really cool. So that's the kind of stuff I like to do. The letter goes on. In your video, you were asking about mini wargaming and how one got started and what it means to them. This is my little story. So this is Andrew Parsons' story. I started at my local game store way back in middle school in 1995. Middle school in 95. Was I in middle school in 95? See, I graduated in 06. So that would put me, high school was like, what, 02 to 06. So you were a few years ahead of me. So we're not that far off in age. I was drawn to the store by the card game Magic the Gathering. Yep, I think most of us have played that. As a Marine Corps brat, Dad was a career Marine. Combat games were always appealing, and one day while I was there playing, I stumbled onto the Battletech card game. Yep, it was really cool. I remember the poster that said, tap this, and had the Mad Cat shooting at the fantasy characters. This was my first taste of Battletech. Later on, as I got older, I started looking in on the miniature gaming. The first game I played was Warhammer Bretonnians versus Lizardmen, so fantasy, yep. One of the regulars brought 2 of his armies and let me use one. The store started hosting more play introductions, and one of those I was introduced to Warhammer 40k. This was the first game that started collecting my own army, Space Marines. I played 2nd and 3rd edition up until I left for boot camp in the summer of '01. So I was just getting ready to start high school, and my first dive into wargaming, at least with Warhammer, was right at the end of 4th, beginning of 5th edition. So I was just a little bit behind you. During the time that I played was playing Warhammer 40k, I tried Battletech out, really loved the granular gameplay, but there was not a huge following in my area, so I never invested in it early on. I pretty much stopped playing games during my career in the Marine Corps. There were a few gaming clubs here or there, but most of them were centered on historic combat type games. See, that's a little bit shocking, but maybe with some of your deployments or duty stations or whatnot, maybe the game stores skew differently, especially if there's a military demographic. The wargaming might have skewed more historical. So it's unfortunate you didn't get to try. Also, with our age group being kind of probably similar, I assume you've got a few years on me, but not a lot. So when you were looking to dabble into Battletech, you're not one of the OG Battletech guys, so you were kind of a fresh face to it. So anyways, back to it, because I keep interjecting. Upon my retirement in 2020 from the Corps, I was looking for a hobby to fill some empty time and space, and a good time to find a hobby too, because you were retiring from the Marines at the beginning of COVID, so little did you know you were about to have several years of plenty of time probably to do stuff. Then when I looked to go back to 40k, I realized that company and the game had left me behind. The game had become ridiculously overpriced, and the company was taking a path that I did not want to support. Yeah, I feel you there. In the letdown of that, I was walking around a Barnes & Noble with my wife, and I saw Alpha Strike and the Game of Armor Combat box sets. I grabbed them both, and I did a few playtest games with my younger brother, also medically retired Marine, and we both enjoyed the games. From there, we jumped in with both feet. Mini wargaming to me is a reach back into my childhood, as well as a way to hold on to the tactics and discipline of my time in the Marine Corps. Overall, it is just fun and keeps my mind engaged. So yeah, if you want to leave a comment on this video as well and tell me some about your brother and what he plays, because I assume you guys might still play together, which would be really cool if you do. That would also be awesome. He says, I was never an artist recruit, so the painting does not come naturally to me, but I have started to embrace it more. This Clan Nova Cat Nova is only my 3rd time painting. That's awesome. You've sent me something. The first was a Lance of Urban Mechs, and you can't go wrong with the Urbies. The second is my Clan Ghost Spirit Delta Galaxy Supernova Trinary, so any pointers would be greatly appreciated. Brush painter only. So before we get to the rest, if you're brush painter only, my first recommendation would be at some point consider looking into airbrushing. It's not as bad as it seems, and there's some pretty reasonable ways to get started with that, both on a budget and from a health standpoint if you're worried about ventilation and stuff. So if you're interested, I'm happy to give you some information on where I would recommend going into that. If for anything, being able to just the base coat alone, airbrushing speeds everything up. Don't got to be fancy. It's just nice to be able to get your base colors down and then start detailing without having to spend forever hand painting. But that's just me. My lore on the enclosed Clan Nova Cat Nova. They are the Pouncing Shadow Nova of Alpha Galaxy. Nova Commander Andros, I can't pronounce that, Poiltes, is a cunning strategist who is long in the tooth, but nowhere near out of his prime. He is the victor of many trials, and has on many occasions completed the Rite of the Vision, using the divinations to crush his opponents. He pilots a Turkina D, which he won in a Rite of Possession, from one less worthy Jade Falcon. His second in command is Star Commander Enrico Prest. That one I could pronounce. This mech warrior is a seasoned veteran being groomed for future command. He pilots the Nova Cat A. The last mech warrior of note, Teresa, with no blood name yet. She is a prodigy straight out of the training centers, looking to make a name for herself. She pilots the Pouncer C. The other 2 mech warriors, Jacobus, piloting the Nova, and Deneen, she pilots the Kit Fox. The Elemental Star is led by Star Commander Nicoletta Lenardin. Got it. She is the bleeding edge of the assault and leads from the front. She and her star are the hammer under which the enemy breaks. Her point favors flamers to provide maximum damage to break enemies down as efficiently as they can. And an Alpha Strike heat and heat application is absolutely nuts, so that is the way to go. This nova is out and about in the galaxy during the age of Civil War, 3062 to 3067. Therein is a command nova, built to the rules for special bonus abilities, unless attached to a binary, trinary, cluster, or larger command. In those instances, they function as a support nova. It's got a breakdown of the units that he sent. So we've got, I was not far off. I didn't know what was in these. So it looks like there was 10, but it's going to be the 5 mechs and 5 accompanying battle armor, which makes sense for 10 models. So he's broke that down. I look forward to seeing what you can come up with for these guys. I hope they also help bring some new people to the hobby. My contact information, I'm going to try and blur that out and remember that, because you might not want your email out for the public. So, and Andrew, thank you. That's awesome. I appreciate you sending me a heartfelt letter that I could read, which is really good. And also, hopefully, me poking fun at the spelling there was not too offensive. If you are offended by that, though, I'd be shocked, because some of my friends are Marines, and they've got some of the most vile humor that I've ever encountered. So I imagine that was probably more funny to you than it was offensive. So, but if it was, I apologize. So let's go ahead and get some minis opened here. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll try and get this to where we don't get out of focus. Sometimes I get too zoomed in, and then it has a hard time focusing. So try not to have that happen here. And I'll try to be careful as to not to break these or mess anything up. We'll see. Shoop. All right. So we got the Turkina here. Boop. Shoop, 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 shoop. Oh, I see. Oh, go. Okay. We got the Kit Fox. Boop. And once I get these all open, I will zoom in on them. I'll get them all open first. I think this had some dudes in it. Shoot, shoot. It's going to turn into a little bit of an ASMR video, as you guys hear me just crunching up some paper. Oh, okay, this is the Orion. Mr. Karinsky. Boop. That will be the one to bestow upon a new player. All right, so we've got this is the Blackhawk / Nova. I'm not as worried about messing up the mechs. I'm more worried about tearing up the battle armor, because they're on those little jump jets. I don't want to break any. All right. I appreciate the effort put into the battle armor. As someone who spends a lot of time detailing minis, I kind of phoned it in on my battle armor. So you've got the little jets, and you got two-tone color scheme. Mine were basically sprayed and I think dry brushed and maybe a wash or something. But I did do some stuff on the jets, but I didn't spend a lot of time on them. So it's always nice to see when people spend a little effort on their battle armor as well. I like that. All right, get this open here. Alright, so we've got the Nova Cat, which is one of my favorites. So I used to play the old MechWarrior Dark Age Clicks game, and the Nova Cats, they had two in particular I liked, Grinder and, was it 9-Ball? Two of the gunslingers are mercenaries, and I always thought the look was really cool. I tried using it in MechWarrior Online, and this is the Pouncer here, and I'm terrible with it. I also tried playing the old MechWarrior games with it, and I'm terrible with it. So there is that. Okay. Alright, so battle armor number 3, 4, and 5. Alright, so first and foremost, everything arrived safe and sound. So let's get this back out here, and let's see. So we've got the Turkina D, we've got the Nova Cat A, we've got the Pouncer C, whoops. We've got the Black Hawk H, and the Kit Fox. There's in order. And then we've got our accompanying battle armor, and let's see if you've got custom cards with names on them. Okay, so these are the variants, and then the battle armor. All right. So let's find the names that you gave me, and I'll show them off in order. All right, so the Nova Commander, Andrus, is a cunning strategist who's long the tooth. Is the victor. Okay, so this one is Andrus. So The Turkina is one that I poke fun at because it's a Turkina and they're kind of goofy. I don't say that to poke fun at you. It's just it's bizarre to me. It always makes. I talked about this in my tutorial Turkina video. It looks like they took almost like the Star Trek Enterprise or some type of Star Trek ship and threw it on legs. So I always poke a little bit of fun at the Turkina. But anyways, I appreciate you got a two-tone paint scheme here. I did some freehand for the stars. You got the NovaCat decal on here, and you've got a little bit of OSL inside. This, I'm assuming, is PPCs on the Turkina, and then you've got probably something that dishes heat, maybe like, that wouldn't be plasma. I don't think that the year that you were playing was far enough to have plasma, but definitely not energy, so I see that you got the two differences there. So, and then you've got some nice basing going on here, and I dig it. So as much fun as I poke a little bit visually at the Turkina, it's nothing to scoff at in terms of facing it down on the battlefield, because that thing will definitely dish out some damage. So let's check out, let's see, the next one. Let's get the Turkina. Second in command is Enrico Prest, and he pilots the NovaCat A. Okay. And this one, as I mentioned before, one of my favorites. Definitely dig that it's got the Shadowcat decal on there. Got the basing. And if you've watched any of my videos before, because you've painted a unified paint scheme, a lot of the things I say are going to be similar because they look similar. But I definitely still think they're cool. And then I'm guessing he's got, what is this, like medium lasers and PPCs? You got the colors in here. So if I was guessing, I bet... Is that the color you used for those prismatic bolt? That'd be my guess. This is good stuff. If you're using the Army Painter Speed Paint, it's good stuff. I use it all the time through airbrush. I'm actually working on some minis right now. I'm going to be kind of shiny, and this is all speed paints as well. So nothing wrong with that. But that would be my guess as to what you're definitely using. So definitely dig it. Of the mechs I have sitting here, this is probably going to be my favorite because I'm a big fan of the NovaCat himself. And then let's check out, let's see if they're going in order. We've got the Pouncer. All right. Okay, the last mech we're note is Teresa with no blood name yet. She's a project straight out of training. Sinners looking to make a name for herself. She pilots the Pouncer. So this one is Teresa in the Pouncer. So this one's out of the Alpha Strike box, which was one of the main reasons I wanted to get it, because they had this one and the Wraith. Those were the two new sculpts, not just resculpts. So I really wanted them. I think the Wraith looks a little bit goofy to me. Actually, I think I've got one of those sitting here as well. It's not my favorite sculpt, but I do like the Pouncer, especially in later eras. This one's got some good jumping abilities, which with the name Pouncer, you would think that, or that would make sense. And also, I think one of the variants that I've been using has got heat application as well, which is really cool. So I didn't mention on the other two, but I appreciate that you've got cockpit colors on here as well. I'm guessing here. Let's see if we're using some of the same, same paints. Did you happen to use Tesseract Glow on that? And if I manage to go 2 for 2 on picking colors, that would be pretty awesome. So, but much like the previous two, looks good. I appreciate the two-tone and the freehand that you've put into this. Looks pretty awesome. Moving on next, we've gone through Teresa. The other two mech warriors are Jacobus piloting the Nova and Deneen in the Kit Fox. So we've got Jacobus in the Nova. Now this one it's one of those where it's got design elements I like visually, and then it's got other ones that I don't. But one of my favorite things about some of the designs from Battletech, and this might be one of the OG or old school designs that's been updated, but I always like the fuselage. It looks almost like an aircraft on it, so I really like that. And then the thing on the Black Hawk that I always thought was comical was the number of lasers it's got on it. I don't know if these are small lasers or not, but I mean, it's got 12 of them, which is insanity. So, but much like its predecessors here, we've got the decal, we've got the laser colors put in here, we've got our canopy and the freehand. So definitely dig that. And that one was, I just read it, Jacobus, and then we've got Deneen in the Kit Fox. And I've got a soft spot in my heart for the Uller. I have no idea why. I've always thought it looks cool. Maybe it's something like the Irby, because it's almost like a little tiny trash can with legs and little missiles and stuff, but I've always thought the Uller was cool. I guess it's not that much different than this guy, just a little bit smaller. I mean, with the leg designs being like the knee back type thing, and then the 2 arms. It's almost like, you know, hey, Dad. So yeah, definitely like that one. And again, like the previous ones, we got our freehand, we got our decal, got our laser colors, which I'm assuming was that like 2 mediums and like, is that a red small? I can't remember. I always just put in what looks cool. So definitely dig that. And then we've got the 5 battle armor here, and he's got flamer, micro laser, HMG laser, and micro pulse laser. So I assume if you're playing, if you're, by the looks of it, it almost looks like you're playing where you're not running any duplicates. So this particular Turkini you've got at skill 1 is an absolute beast here. Lots of life going on. Was that 15 life and 8 damage at medium, which is the most likely range band you're going to be rocking out. So that's pretty insane, especially if you're using formation rules. And it looks like you've got these guys listed at a 400 point value. So yeah, pretty brutal. Nova Cat here, skill 2, 8J, 5 damage for medium, so not too shabby on the damage output either. The only thing that I dislike about the Nova Cat in general, while I like the design of it, is I guess it's one of the few, and there's probably more examples, but one of the few heavy mechs for Alpha Strike for clanners that doesn't have TMM2. It always drives me bonkers because a lot of their heavies have TMM2. But in this case, you've got a low skill, and he's got jump, so you can offset that TMM by jumping. That puts his skill effectively 4, still average shooting, and gets his TMM back. We got the Pouncer here, 12 move, 10J, TMM2 and 2 skill, also no slouch for damage either. Blackhawk, same thing. He's got a lot of jumpers here. So skill 3, so this one's coming in more in I was going to say reasonable, with an OV4, yes, absolutely just nuke people. Yep. And then we got our Kit Fox here, skill 3, 12 jump, TMM2, average damage. And then the battle armor, so we've got our heat applying battle armor. The main issue I have with battle armor, which is so weird, is just the amount of points that they cost for the amount of life that they have. It's so bizarre to me. I heard that they rebalanced the battle armor a little bit in the master unit list, though, so that's made it a little bit easier. But it's always so awkward looking at elementals versus some of the other ones. What is it, like the Bombardier and the Gnome battle armor and stuff? Some of those for similar costs are just so bananas. And then the standard elemental is just like, hey, what did you forget about me? So that said, those are the minis, and you did mention that if I had some feedback or some ideas to give you recommendations, that you'd be open to that. So as we end our video for today, give you a couple ideas on some things you can do. So first and foremost, as I throw things across my room, I've got a box of dry brushes. I did a video review on these. So this is Expert Series 5-piece dry brush set for miniatures and models. I'm not sure. Yeah, there it is. There's the name. Artify. I did a review on this, and they're very cheap for what they are. And this set comes with like 5 of them. I think it's 5 or 6. 5 of them. And it comes in this nice little box set here, and it's kind of cool because you can push down, and it arcs them up. So you push down, and you can kind of pull them out, and then push these back in. For the price, it's super efficient, right? So that would be the first thing I'd recommend if you haven't tried dry brushing it. And I've got some videos that break that down, but that's not going to break the bank. Under 20 bucks to get that. And I wouldn't even recommend the set that comes with the soap and the little foam thing. You probably don't need those. I tried using that foam applicator, and it's just weird. So dry brushes would be the way to go. And that would lead into one of the things I think that would help you bring these guys to the next level. If you get a blue like this, a lighter blue, maybe like a gray blue. I don't have all of my paints at my disposal on my desk. This one might work. This is dark gray blue. It's a little lighter. You might want to go a smidge lighter than that. But coming in and hitting the top sides of your model here. So let me grab one of my dry brushes. This is an Army Painter one. These are good too. But if you were dry brushing, oh, this is Rosemary & Co. I'm sorry. Geez, so many things. And you're coming in, if you start going like this direction with it, across the tops, and you start hitting all those edges on the top side, you kind of get a cheated edge highlight without having to work too hard for it. And I think that that would really bring these guys to the next level. And the same thing up here, before you do your decals on your freehand, come in with a lighter blue on this one, maybe something like gray blue maybe, might work pretty well. And come in and with this one, hold your model this direction, dry brush this way, right? So it's going this way on the model, which means the areas it's hitting are the areas that are going to leave the paint. So you're going to get your edge highlights and a little bit of paint here, and then on the back, you're not getting that, so you get that natural transition of where the light would be hitting. I think that would really make these pop for you, and especially on this guy here. Like if you watch my tutorial Turkina video, I've got everything I just mentioned I do in that video, and you'll see how it really just grabs all those edges really fast, and you don't have to do like you're doing this by hand, but you don't have to do like manual highlights. So that's a really easy thing that you can do. Then come in and do your freehand, and if you happen to watch that tutorial series, coming in with some gloss varnish and then this stuff right here, this multi-black, it's not going to show up as much on these legs because of that really like dark midnight blue, but right up in here, it's really going to make your model pop. So like these panel lines right here, getting those really nice and dark and black is really going to make this blue shove. It's going to shove it up while it's pushing the recess down, and it's going to give you that definition without having to work that hard for it. Again, in that video series, to break that down, I do airbrush in that video, but you don't have to do that. You can skip the airbrush parts. You can get rattle cans to do your gloss and matte varnishes, and you can handle a lot of that by hand if you want to. But I really think this plus dry brushing is really going to help you out and take it to the next level. And finally, the last thing I would probably recommend, or maybe two things, on your canopies, right? So this is personal preference. Anything I'm saying here is also personal preference, so remember that. When I do jeweling, one of the things that's really going to help push your your canopy glass here, I like to do a little bit of a white line, think like a reverse L in the bottom edge. So let's say we're doing the bottom right edge, so you do line here and then come up, so like that. And then on the opposing side, do like a couple of dots, and it gives you the illusion of like the light reflecting off a curved surface. So if you're looking at like a car window and the sun's up, you get like the sun on one side and reflections and stuff on the other and whatnot. So it gives you that illusion. And then if you come in with this stuff like this, black contrast black Legion, or a speed paint that's black, whatever you got. I don't have an actual black speed paint up here, do I? No. But you can come in, and this one's a little bit more tedious, but that speed paint's pretty forgiving because it's thin. And if you trace around your canopies and you black line those edges, again, just like with that oil wash, it's going to push the recesses next to your canopy down and pull all the light colors you did up. So it's going to give you that depth and definition, and it's really going to make the canopy glass stand out. Now, on some of these, that's easier said than done. So like this guy, you might be able to get in there with that, but it's not going to be quite as easy. The Pouncer's glass is starting to get kind of small, so you might struggle to trace it in black as well. And definitely on the Blackhawk here, it's super small. So it's not something you can do on every one of these, but that is something small you could do, especially, yeah, the Ohlers, I probably wouldn't even do that. That'd be a pain in the butt. But that is a couple of recommendations that I think might help you out if you want to take things to the next level. And then on the Pouncer, this will be the last recommendation because, again, doing the dry brushing I think is going to make your panels pop. Coming in and putting the white dot in the line to enhance your canopies would be good. And then black lining around the edges. Again, all those recommendations are doable on this guy. But one of the small things is you can come in with a little bit of white paint and kind of dot the centers of your jet engines here. And then I'm assuming you've got some contrast paint because I think that's what you use on some of these details, or maybe some speed paints or something like that. You can come in with a little bit of white once that a little bit of yellow once that white dries. Put a dab of yellow in the center, and while it's wet, grab your paintbrush and get a little bit of like orange. Trace the outside of the circle with the orange, and then start trying to mix it with the yellow. And then you can get once you play with it, maybe you try it on like a piece of plastic first. I like to use these little lids, so I've got like paint and stuff in here. These are water bottle lids, and get used to mixing the paint a little bit. But with that little bit of a white dot and the two mixes of paints, and you kind of blend them a little, you can get these really nice glowing like engines or engine glows in the backs of these jump jets without really having to work too hard on it. So on the channel I do some tutorials for you guys. But outside the channel, like a lot of what I do is not magic. It's not something crazy. I use a lot of speed paints and contrast paints in addition to standard acrylics. But being able to use those transparent paints, essentially, is what speed paints and contrast paints kind of are, and use those properties to blend them and mix them is really nice. So stuff like this right here, you can get some really good effects pretty easily. So that said, I did not mean to digress too much into kind of giving you recommendations for your minis, and hopefully that came across as helpful. I know you mentioned it in there. I could give you some pointers, and hopefully those quick pointers would be helpful. If you need some help finding some dry brush recommendations, let me know. I should probably just drop a link in the description of this video, but if you're interested in that, I'm happy to direct you to that. So, but in closing today, I appreciate you sending me these minis, Andrew, and I appreciate our other guy here, David, for sending me these patches as well. I think this was a pretty good mail call for the week, and I appreciate you guys sending me this stuff. So everyone for everyone who is watching, please give these guys a shout out. I appreciate what they have provided for the channel, and be on the lookout for these minis and some upcoming videos when I can get them on the channel. I know I've got some battle reports hopefully lined up with either Bob or Daff in the near future, and it'll be cool to get some of the miniatures for the channel up there and into some actual action as well. So that said though, folks, if you're interested in getting something of yours featured on the channel, I've got some videos you can check out if you're for like first responder, LEO, military, whatever. You want to send a patch in, some minis, or in a letter that's kind of detailing your life and what miniatures and wargaming mean for you, you can check out that video. And if you just want to contribute some minis, I got a video that shows you how to do that too. With that said, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for sending these in. As always, keep painting your models, keep rolling your dice, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me today. I pour a lot of time and passion into every video, and I genuinely hope it adds something to your hobby experience. If you've enjoyed today's content and want to see more, consider supporting me over on Patreon. Every little bit of support helps fuel what I'm doing here, and it truly makes a difference. Whether it's a few dollars or simply sharing the channel with others, your support means the world to me and allows me to keep doing what I love and hopefully inspiring you along the way. A huge thank you as well to all my sponsors, Monument Hobbies, Fortress Miniatures and Games, Baron of Dice, and Deathward Designs as well. Their backing is vital to the channel, and if you're in the market for top quality paints, miniatures, dice, or terrain, please check out their links below. Not only will you be picking up some great products, but you'll also be supporting this growing community we share together. Thank you so much for watching, and for your time, and for being a part of this journey with me. As I sign off today, let's go ahead and highlight some awesome patrons who are helping fuel this journey we're on together and helping keep things going.